All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today we have Chett D'Angelo, the artist, filmmaker, and coach. And I'm a huge fan of his video, Be Yourself. And he also has a music, Hospitable Hearts, available on Spotify. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Chett.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for thinking of me as a person to talk to.
My pleasure. I was so excited when you said yes. I'm like, yes, I get to talk to Chett. So happy Pride Month.
Oh my God, thank you.
It's so sad that we don't get to go out in the parade because of the coronavirus, but
Yeah,
we'll still get to celebrate and honor each and every one of the lives.
yeah. I love the community too because it's like whenever something happens to one of us, everybody comes together, and I love that idea. I mean, from what I've seen, with like Black trans lives and all that, and being killed and stuff like that, like I think it's so important, especially since Black trans women were the people that started the movement for us, and then we had the pandemic, so it's like it's just like
Right?
it's just like everything at once. But
For sure. And no, I definitely want to ask you more question about Black Trans Lives Matter in a little bit. But first, how do you describe yourself as a human being? And also, what is the fun fact that most people do not know about you?
well, I feel like I am just somebody who just like loves people unconditionally. I love meeting people, and I don't know what it is. It's just like every time I meet somebody new and they talk to me about themselves, it's just like it just opens the door for possibility of like what's possible for me and what's possible for others around me. I just think about like where I see this person could be, you know. Um, and one fun fact about myself is I I love Julie Andrews.
I
And
love
oh my god, she's like the
it.
original like Mary Poppins, like, and she was also in Princess Diaries. Like, if I could meet anybody in the world, it would be Julie Andrews,
Oh my god. What is the favorite role that she ever played?
Mary Poppins. I actually
Absolutely.
I actually have the Mary Poppins umbrella like in my like I have it like it's down like in my house downstairs.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I am actually kind of jealous about that. All right, so let's jump in. So I really want to first start by talking about your video, Beat Yourself. It's such a beautiful video and it went viral. And I love the moment when you start to cut your hair. For like those who haven't watched it, I'm spoiling a little bit, but it's such a beautiful video. What inspires you to start this?
So I was around that time I was going through like I was having a little bit of an awakening where for my whole life I was this person who was just living to other people's expectations. I would look to outside of myself to validate like, oh, should I wear, even like as far as like clothing, like should I wear this, does this look okay, and or should I buy this, does this look okay. And I recognized that even like with my relationships I was doing that, like my romantic relationships. And so I had broken up with this person like over that summer, and then I made the video in October. But I remember, like I broke up with this person. This person was pretty much like telling me like the things I should like I pretty much look to them for everything in my life. And so when I didn't have them anymore, I was like what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to live. Like, how am I supposed to like, and I couldn't get out of it. The first thing I did, I remember, was I went online and I was looking for glasses, and I found these glasses. One circle, one square, right? One of the frames is circle and one of the frames is square. They're different frames. And I remember looking over them and I was like, this is a joke. Like, maybe I'll get these as a joke and get another pair. And then I looked back at them again and I was like, maybe, I think I'm gonna get them. Like, I'm gonna get only these. I'm not gonna get another pair. Like, these are me. And that was like the first taste of what it's like to really make a decision for myself because I want to. It's something that I like. And so when I made Be Yourself, the concept of it was to really find yourself, and also like people may be putting all of these expectations on you on how you should be, how you should look, but the most important thing is to embrace like how you want to be and how you want to look. And sometimes that takes breaking down completely in order to break through, and then through that just blossoming into the person that you're meant to be.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. And yeah, there's so much expectations and pressure. I love what you said about finding yourself. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What was your process like in regards to really finding yourself?
I ask it every day. I ask this when I wake up, when I like whenever a big decision comes into my life, whenever I'm not sure. It's almost like a compass for me, but like if nobody else existed, who would I be and what would I do? Because a lot of my life, like others have influenced my decisions, and I've looked to others to influence my decisions. That came into the discovery, like falls into play with finding yourself. What helped me find myself, and then also I feel like it was a lot of unlearning habits that like and thought processes that kept me from really embracing this person. Because a lot of what like the mentality I grew up with was like I had to let go of that mentality in order to be who I am.
Yeah, and we go through that or asking themselves a question of who am I? Being in frustrated. Like there's so much expectation, so much noises. If nobody tells you what to do, if nobody's around, what would I want to be doing?
Mm,
That's a beautiful question. So thank you for sharing that.
of course.
So I really want to start talking about your process of transitioning. Again, congratulations. And that's a huge, huge decision. One thing I really love about seeing your journey is you have so much support from people, from your family, from the community.
Yeah. I definitely think that like a lot of the support that I've been getting has to do more so with about the person that I am. I think that a lot of people when I've come out like just they saw me for like this person who was loving and I think a lot of people know that I'm just that person who loves unconditionally. In being that, like, it actually supported in coming out. And I mean, there were some people at first, like, it was a little bit difficult to, like, get to grasp, to understand. Maybe there still are people that are like that, but it's important to really like when coming out about something, it's really important to not internalize people's reactions and also understand that like where a person is coming from, like everybody has good intentions and if a person reacts in a way that doesn't you feel is not supportive, it's most likely because like they're thinking in the like from what the best that they know. And transgender is and somebody transitioning is something, especially from media, that is not viewed as something that's easy to accept. And so I think that media also teaches people how to react as well. I actually didn't recognize that until I saw this documentary that came out on Netflix, Disclosure, which talks about all about like how like trans in the media and like how literally like media literally trains people how to react to trans people. And so with that, also giving yourself a lot of grace, like if you're somebody who's coming and like not just with transitioning, even coming out, like if you're deciding to switch career paths or if you're coming out about like deciding you want to change a specific diet, I don't know, like anything that has to do with you coming forth to others about something that you've been keeping inside. I think it's important to understand that people react from the best intentions that they know of, and sometimes that's not a good reaction. It's not a reaction that we would mostly like want to have for us, but like it's definitely a process. And in that, like, it's to get to where I am, it's without a doubt gonna like if you want other people to be on that road with you, they also have to unlearn as well. And so it's like we're all transitioning, it's not just me in some way. I don't know.
Yeah, that's powerful statement. Like it's not only you, but everybody around you also get to unlearn themselves. And you mentioned a little bit about expectations earlier, but how has people's like expectation that people want you to show up in a different way now that you're a man versus before?
So yeah, I noticed that sometimes that I find myself getting now. there's different pressures on, and so like one instance is that like guys don't really go to the bathroom together. Like guys are not like hey bro, let's go to the bathroom, and like they don't talk in the bathroom. It's like really weird, like nobody talks to each other or barely looks at each other. Whereas like going to the bathroom as a girl, it's like come on, let's go to the bathroom together. And like my friends sharing makeup at the time, like when I grew up when I was presenting feminine, um talking about stuff. There was one time my friend was talking about like some guy who was just like, um, he supposedly he like broke her heart in some way, and like other girls in the bathroom are like, like f him, like you don't need him. Like they were just so supportive, and like like it wasn't weird, Um, but I don't know. There's something that like when going to like into the guy's bathroom that it's just different in that way. I feel like because I present masculine, because I'm like a man, right? Like people, like I present very like just like a straight, I guess like society's idea of what a straight male is. And like people just assume that because I'm transitioning to a man that I like girls and that I'm only into girls. And I'm not. It's not just girls. I love women, but I'm not just into women as well. I'm into like all people. There's just like so much. There's like I feel like I could talk about this for days. But those are just a couple things.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Did you also realize your expectations for yourself changed or
Did I
no?
realize my expectations for myself changed? That's a really good question. And I never thought about that. I feel like this is all just like a learning process as well. Like it's just part of the journey, especially being somebody who relied on like external like sources to, I think that there are moments where I go back to that and it comes up for me, and I think that's what may be happening for myself as a man. Like I look for that external kind of like validation on, and it's weird because sometimes like there'll be instances where there's toxic masculinity present, but it's like oddly validating. And I think that a lot of people who are transitioning masculine or transitioning to a man, um, probably have faced this as well, where there'll be instances that are kind of, they're like moments that are like considered toxic masculinity, and it's like oddly like it's like weirdly kind of validating in a way, but then it's also like I like it validates me as a man, but it makes me feel like crap because I don't like to think that way or like to have that around me. And I think a lot of men also, not you don't have to be trans to go through this. Like men in general probably face this, like the pressures of toxic masculinity in society today.
That is a really the conversation that we could talk about it all day and all night. The toxic masculinity, right? What interesting me right now hearing that is, and during the trans community, how important it is to have the support, especially on the mental wellness.
I think it's really important for anybody to have that mental wellness, and I think that that mental wellness, if everyone had it, the world would take being trans easier.
Mm.
I think that like it's almost like being in a relationship, and it's kind of like when you have one person who's doing that mental work, which is mostly most trans people are, especially like since it's kind of required in some like it's required in order to get like surgery and hormones that you are seeing like a mental health like
Right.
counselor or therapist. And I think that in in transitioning in this journey, like it's almost like a relationship that's, if one person is going to mental health counseling and the other person is not, it's a one-sided relationship, and it's a
Mm.
one-side road to acceptance. There's not, it's hard for somebody to understand and accept a person if they're not doing the work within themselves. And I think that also goes back to, it's not even just accepting people who are trans, it's like accepting black people as well. It's accepting black trans women, black trans lives. It's that whole concept of acceptance comes from really doing the work within yourself. And that's like truly accepting, not this superficial, like I'm with you, I support you, but no action is taken.
Yeah, and just a few weeks ago, there is a huge gathering. The thousands of people gathered in Brooklyn and the Black Trans Lives Matter. So many people are witnessing that movement. And how do you see your role? How has it been impacting you?
I think this it definitely um has me checking in with the privileges that I have, and really recognizing the privilege that I have. Like, I pass as a male, and there's a lot of trans men who don't. Like, checking in with that and seeing like what are ways that I can support, and also like recognizing that white supremacy is something that is it's like a virus. It's like a virus, and it's like something that you don't really like know that could sneak up on you. There are so many people that have like different things going on in their life as a result, or like discrepancies, I would say, because of white supremacy. And I just recently did this it was with Momentum, that
The racial equity.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like so enlightening, and they talk about this a lot. That had me recognize a lot about, even when I go into these. I feel like even when I go into these like mental, sometimes I'll go into these like almost get into like this analysis paralysis. It's like parts of it are a result of white supremacy. I feel like I don't really know how to explain it unless you're a person who's like doing the work. Like, it's hard to get the message across. But I think part of my role also is to have, like, especially when I see like the vision of the world, I want to really make a difference. I don't think that white supremacy is involved in the vision of the world that I have. It's actually not at all involved. Yeah. I feel like it's definitely my responsibility to, educate myself more and more and keep doing the work, and also shifting the minds that are around me that think otherwise.
It's not only about you, but people around you. We're all doing the process of unlearning and facing the uncomfortable conversation, and like being able to have an open mind about what could it look like, right? Because we all need it, like togetherness. We're all in this together. So I thank you so much for sharing that. There are a few things. One thing was we talked about the media, and you yourself as a filmmaker and an artist, and you are so generous about sharing your journey. I see your posts about post surgery, and you really are changing the narrative of it so generously. And you mentioned about disclosure earlier. So you as an artist, you as a creative person who have the voice, where do you see media shifting with?
I think that, and going back to this documentary just dropped so many gems. They talk about how like we just need more representation. We need more stuff that's accurate. And I think that would shift in mindset. There are some things that are like there's just very little of it, but there are some stuff that, like, some shows that have the representation. I think that because people are aware of it, it actually has people who are not in the US, like people like I have my family in Italy that are able to like really accept me for who I am and understand that it's a thing because they've seen it on a TV show. Like, it's like, or they've seen it on some sort of media, like they have access to Instagram. And I think that's where media can be very beneficial, and very empowering and uplifting, and understanding like it's not something new. It's something that's always been here. And right now I feel right now uh, I'm just working on different ways that I can be that person, things that I could create, projects that I could create to have people see the light, the beautiful parts of being trans. And it's such a beautiful process. Like, if you follow somebody's journey from before to after, it's like a beautiful experience. And it's literally like an evolution. That's why we're all like butterflies. And I don't think you have to be trans to be a butterfly. I think everybody is a butterfly in that way. I don't feel like I'm the same person that I was 2 years ago, 1 year ago, a month ago. I'm not even the same person as I was yesterday. So like, and I think that goes for everybody. Everybody's constantly changing. And becoming comfortable with change is like another big thing. Like, you're comfortable with change. People are constantly transitioning. There's not only transitioning genders, there's transitioning life. There's even the first phase of life is a transition. We go from the womb to like the like outside of the womb, like to fresh air, and that's a transition in itself.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
I love that. Everybody is a butterfly. Everybody's transitioning, going through all these metamorphoses and turning into the butterfly. I am so grateful to be able to see that journey you have had last few years, and you inspired me so much. You inspired me so much. And I remember the first time you came up to my show and I was still doing I Am Series. You're mad nervous being on stage. You're mad nervous being on stage, but even then, like, you had so many people supporting you and they like, hey Chett, you got this. So thank you so much for being the love and light and really showing us what support and true love and unconditional support looks like. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, Yuko. That means a lot.
Oh my god, thank you for letting me share. Before I wrap it up, I have one more question for you. But is there any creative project that's happening for you right now, or share a little bit about how people can find you?
Instagram is the big thing. Instagram is where I show everything, all parts of my journey. You could see from the beginning to the middle to now, right? Instagram, which is NYC Trans Chet. It's spelled NYC TRANSCHETT.
My final question for you is, what is that call to action that you would like to share with the world right now?
Ooh, call to action that I would like to share with the world. Um, do the work and learn more about yourself. Whether that has to be, taking yourself out on dates, discovering how you can love up on yourself, um, anything that it will have you have that relationship with you like solid. And with that, I think that's the first step into like really being a stand for other people is when you're a stand for yourself.
Beautiful. Oh, I just love you. It just gives me so much butterfly. All right. Thank you so much for taking your time and sharing your journey and sharing your love and passion and continuing to share your creativity with the world.
Thank you, Yuko. I love you so much,
I
and
love you
thank you
too.
so much. Thank you.